Hello, we are Team Risky Business and we've taken on Challenge 5 by TfL. So we are Isabel, Ola, Tristan, Cindy, Nicholas and Peter. So TfL's problem is that climate change forecasts have predicted that within the near future there'll be extreme shifts in weather patterns, meaning increased frequency in the number of extremely hot days, heavy rainfall and severe droughts. So this projected trajectory of climate change poses a risk for key infrastructure that's managed and used by Transport for London. TfL currently used ArcGIS to visualise the London transport network. This contains a wide range of supplementary data, including assets such as trees, gullies and street lighting. They need a way of overlaying these assets with risk factors to be able to make informed and timely decisions to assess and mitigate potential impact resulting from changes in climate. So they want to link the environmental risk assessment provided by the Environmental Agency to their asset locations in ArcGIS. TfL want to link their environmental risk assessment provided by the Environmental Agency to their asset locations in ArcGIS. They want to be able to see on this visualization what assets are most at risk and be able to filter based on climate variables and risk period. And they also want to be able to use this data to inform how funding is prioritised to build resilience into at-risk infrastructure and protect assets. So as they already have an extensive ArcGIS system, our recommendation is that this functionality is integrated into this, but for the purposes of the demo, we have used Power BI.
We reviewed the possible data formats and sources and saw that the Geographic Information System was used extensively by Transport of London and the Environmental Agency, and decided to use this as our main data source. Using the GIS layers, we could use the risk analysis Excel sheet to process the two layers to generate a third layer with the assets marked with their appropriate risk scores.
This is our Power BI dashboard that shows the location of all the different assets that we have data for and the flooding risk ranges around the Thames. You can filter the dashboard by the different asset types. So you can select gullies, luminaire points or trees, and you can choose the different years that we have risk data for. So you can see in 2020 all the risks for the trees, and then you can see them for 2050 or 2080 as well. This data could also be used in an ArcGIS system, which TfL already have access to. So by incorporating this and more data, they could build upon the visualizations we have created here.
One of the things that we would really like to try is to perhaps have different sets and layers of information in a GIS format or system. For example, the layer that we currently have on display in the dashboard created in Power BI has different sets of information regarding the flooding risk factor in each area, such as high, low, and very low risk of flooding. Ideally, we would like to have these different sets of information to each be in a separate layer. With this, we would also like to have additional sets of relevant information, such as the risk of flooding from surface water in different year ranges, such as 10, 100, and 1000 years from the DEFRA website. The main problem that we encounter with this is that the information downloaded from publicly available sources were in a format that wasn't compatible with the tools that we had at our disposal. So with more time, we would like to obtain relevant information in a file format that we would be able to work with. And lastly, the dashboard that we created was in Power BI. The tools available in Power BI do have some limitations, like the file formats that it is able to accept and having the ability to have different sets of information in a layered format. There is an ArcGIS plugin or tool in Power BI, but it has limitations of its own, including that we are not able to input our own sets of information into the reference layers. After looking into the ArcGIS software itself, we believe that utilizing either ArcGIS Online or Pro would be the better option, as the tools in ArcGIS are much more developed and far more diverse than the mapping tools available in Power BI. For example, one of the tools available is the Intersect tool, where ArcGIS is able to output the intersection between two data sets. With this tool, we would be able to gather assets and geographical information for different at risk areas and zones at different risk levels.